someone has rejection from their mother and father, or their family, they, when they get out in the world, they search. They search for someone to fill that void. I know this for experience because I've had kids come to me and latch hold to me like I'm their mother or like I'm their father because they can talk to me and I'm gay and they're gay, and that's where a lot of that baldness and the mother business comes in.
Hello and welcome to episode 3 of The Best of Me, a small community on the interweb promoting self-love and self-respect through the reevaluation of our relationships with the vices that keep us in a stronghold. I want to say a very big thank you to everybody who has joined the community, everybody who has liked, subscribed, and shared any of our episodes. It's just been amazing to see the reception and the response that we have received over the last 2 episodes. My name is Samora Mangesi, and I'm excited today to have this conversation about rejection, specifically in the LGBT community, and how it can lead to higher numbers of alcohol use and abuse, as well as other things surrounding it as well. I often say sometimes that when it comes to imagining life, if you can look at life as a game of crazy eights, and when it comes to rejection, it's a take 2, take 4. The trans community is probably drawn a joker, whilst everybody else would have probably been considered to have drawn a really good hand. So that's why it was important for me to call upon one of my friends, the incredible, the incomparable Yaya Mavundla, to be a part of today's conversation. Yaya, thank you so much for making the time for us and being here today.
Thank you. And yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for the platform. I think this is incredible and so important.
Thank you. Now, first of all, Yaya, I want to ask you, what's your poison?
Whew. I like myself a nice shaza. I mean, I try and at least have something in the fridge.
Yes.
For those moments where I need a drink. But I'm not like heavily on it.
So you like bubbles.
Yeah, I like bubbles.
I've got bubbles here for you, actually.
Then of course, or even better, can I tell you something? I was telling somebody to say, if you want to stay off alcohol, sparkling water is the best thing.
Absolutely.
It is the best thing. But of course, I like me a good cider when we are going, to party with friends. I think, for different occasions, I like different drinks.
Now, a lot of the time, Yaya, when we say what's your poison, everybody kind of shrugs it off as a question about what it is that you drink. However, I also want us to delve a little bit deeper and in the truest sense of what poison is. As something you ingest and then eats you up from the inside.
Of course.
What would you say you're dealing with right now? What would you say you're going through right now that is eating you up from the inside and you're struggling to deal with?
Okay. That's a tricky one, because I think it's things that we don't really constantly think of.
Yeah.
Or maybe even when we do, we are so shy to speak to the world about what we are going through. I think for the longest time, it was the struggle of me not being able to take hormones.
Okay.
And that's ate me up. Like, it was a big struggle for me. I found myself in a space where I just thought, okay, maybe I'm not going to be able to do this ever, And unfortunately, one of the reasons at the time, I think, was the alcohol intake. I drank a lot.
Okay.
And so then I had liver issues. But when I toned down, I drink, but I don't like excessively like I used to. So that I've been able to deal with. I think now then, I would say I'm in a better space than that.
That's lovely to hear. And I think the insight as well, and the takeaway would certainly be the fact that sometimes we can really and truly hold ourselves back from the things that we really want because,
Absolutely.
you know, and I was saying to someone just the other day, I said to them, you know, life is like a catapult. Life is like a catapult. It's slingy, basically, the ones that we would go out and make as young kids and go hunting for birds and stuff. And the further back you are pulled, the further forward you're going to shoot. And the unfortunate thing that we do as people is that we sit in the darkness of the difficulty and we don't prepare for the landing. Because when life pulls you back, at some point, it's going to shoot you forward and it's going to shoot you into your success, into your greatness. But what are you doing in the time that you're being pulled back? If you are sitting in darkness, if you are drowning yourself in alcohol, in drugs, in gambling, in sex, are you going to be prepared for the greatness that you're going to land at? Are you going to be prepared to be flung from David's sling to land on Goliath's forehead and conquer him? And that for me has been a really big motivator for what we're doing here, to be able to lead people to a mindfulness in their thinking about what it is that they do. Because we like to make difficulty an excuse for destructive behavior and dangerous behavior.
Dangerous behavior. You know, it's funny you say that, and you mentioned alcohol, sex, gambling,
Drugs.
And drugs, because those are the things, they go hand in hand. They literally go hand in hand. You find that you're gonna go out, drink excessively in a club, and for
You're
those that can't able to control themselves, they're going to pick somebody up.
Let's even leave that. Let's start in the bathroom. You get offered a line of cocaine in the bathroom.
Sure, yeah.
Now you're more susceptible to saying yes. And then you end up, you're in the VIP section. Everything is nice. You're wearing a stepezana esingaga. And this guy, just because he bought you 3 bottles of Moet.
Then you feel like it's okay to say yes. You know, I always say I'm so grateful for that I think for me, I come from a very disciplined background. Yes, I've done a lot of like mistakes, things that I shouldn't be doing. That I can't play, you know, saints and say I've never.
Yes.
But there are things that I know for sure that I will never do.
Yeah.
I know I've never like, I might know the color, how it looks like, the drug, but it's never come closer, you know. I don't know how it feels, you know, to be in that moment. And I think because of how conscious I've always been of what these things lead you to, you know. There is nothing I'm so scared of like being broke because of these things that we do, you know. I don't want to find myself stranded. I don't want to find myself
homeless.
You know, because I come from there, you know, I know what being homeless is like. So, but I don't want to then get myself there because then now I made bad decisions.
Yeah.
Because I've seen like really incredible people that were super, super talented, superstars, people that were, you know, had such great life ahead of them that, you know, they were going to, you know, enjoy. But because of drug abuse, because of alcohol.
We had a very interesting conversation on the way here, and I was telling you about just how I'm doing things better, how I'm showing up to things better. And, you know, as someone who is a style icon in South Africa, I am seeking your approval every single day because I've also just taken a decision to take myself a little bit more seriously. You know, I've taken a decision to take myself a little bit more seriously in how I show up, in how I present myself.
Yeah.
And that is a direct correlation to the clarity that I've found since I took the decision to say, you know what, actually, this thing doesn't really serve me that much, you know? So I think it's just really been such a great journey for me and seeing my potential and what it is that I can do and what I can offer to the world when I actually do put in a little bit of effort.
I think, you know, we also spoke about this to say, when we grew up, alcohol in our homes was used for special occasions.
Yes.
I know for a fact, Christmas definitely, New Year's Eve, like, like those big holidays, or then, but this whole thing that's now we do in the city to say Monday to Friday, we are literally drinking, during lunchtime, we are having a drink.
Coming home, having 2 bottles of wine.
It's funny you say this because I had somebody that came to my house to interview me about something.
Yeah.
We didn't necessarily speak about what they came for because I offered them a drink.
Okay.
And then it's led to another drink, and then it's led to another drink. And yeah. So can you
Did you reschedule the interview?
I think because they just liked me.
Okay.
So it was okay. They're like, you know what? It's okay.
I've gotten a sense of you.
I've gotten a sense of you.
Yeah.
This is who you are. But you see now, if maybe this is a person who didn't have a big understanding of their work.
Yes.
And maybe if I wasn't also still as open, they would have left with nothing.
Yeah.
And that happens constantly, Speaking of even showing up in spaces of how you are dressed, I always say to people, clothes alone are not enough. Your smell adds on how you look.
Absolutely.
The haircuts that you have adds on how you look. And even just little thing, the purse that you have, the watch that you have. But if you are like gonna show up drunk in a space, you won't remember to do those things.
You know what? Part of the conversation that I was having with that friend of mine, I had said, I'm showing up better and I'm doing better and all of that. And they said, did it have to do with the alcohol? And I said, not directly. And it was weird how I answered that question so fluently. Like it was just, it just poured out of me. And I said, you know what? I think I didn't want people to have expectations. I wanted to have expectations so low that when people either see me drunk, they're like, that's who he is.
That's who he is.
When people see me dressed, and then there's no expectation that I'm going to show up dressed up for the occasion. And therefore, that's just who he is. And I carried myself in that thing. I'm a true artist and it must just be about the talent.
But do you see now, if we're being honest, those things of people not having an expectation from you plays such a huge negative space in your career?
Absolutely.
Because unfortunately, I think society needs to have an expectation of you.
Yeah.
When you show up, they are expecting you to look a certain way,
Absolutely.
to present yourself a certain way. If you go on stage to present, people need to know that when Samora gets into that stage, they're going to matter that, he's going to be so great. So if there's no expectation, there's no excitement around you.
Yep.
Unfortunately.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But I think from my side as well, and it ties back into the conversation that we're going to have today, I feared the rejection. So if I already do not put in any effort, therefore you cannot reject me. If I do not put into any effort into my outfit, you cannot judge my outfit and say, because already, don't worry. I don't care what you have to say. And also, just from a community perspective, if you already think very low of me, you can't think any lower of me than I think of myself.
But that's not okay.
No, it's not. Absolutely. It's not.
Because I just feel like then it deprives you of growth.
Absolutely. But this is why I was saying to you before we got here that as much as I've been working for about a decade and a half, I feel like this is my first year actually working, And it's just through grace that I've managed to continue to have the strides that I've had, to continue to have the growth that I've had. But I also acknowledge the fact that maybe if I'd been more mindful, I would have had a much more bigger or higher growth trajectory within the space. But I did say that we're here to talk about rejection. And when we opened this episode, I said that as a trans woman, when it comes to rejection, you've drawn the highest card. You
Sure.
are black, you are trans, and now
I live in South Africa.
You live in South Africa. There are the possibilities of being rejected by your family. There's the possibility of being rejected by your friends when you then come out. There's the possibility of being rejected by the community. There's
by
the possibility
partner.
by your partner. There's the possibility of being rejected by the church,
employment,
and also by culture.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's funny you speak of what's this? There's an example that just made it. The reason why you didn't want to set a certain standard because you didn't want you said you didn't want rejection.
Yes.
So for me, rejection, yes, it has been something that has hit me hard in the past.
Yeah.
Which I think it still happens, but I'm grateful for it. I'm always say I'm so grateful for rejection because then I know how to move forward.
Yeah.
Because had I not been rejected, I would have just thought everything is fine and it's beautiful. But I think when you face those rejections, you find ways of how you survive. You get strength on other ways of, okay, fine, I'm not allowed in space. What can I do, to still be seen, to grow? So for me, I'm able to then now, create my own opportunities because I know for a fact that I'm not going to have the same opportunities as you, Samora. Yes. I'm not going to have the same opportunities as another heterosexual person who does the same thing, another heterosexual woman who does the same thing, Unfortunately, I always laugh when I get campaign briefs from brands and the money doesn't match the brief for me, but it matches the brief for a heterosexual person. And recently there was an offer that I got where I was then compared to another heterosexual person to say, but in a way they are telling me she's bigger than me.
Yes.
And I thought to myself, bigger in your eyes.
Yes.
Because I know for a fact, had I not been a trans woman, they would have not looked at it like that. So for you as a trans person, you need to show up extra so that society does not see you as less. So that society does not pay you less.
Yeah.
For me, I found comfort in saying no. So if you're going to reject me and say no, I'm also going to say no also.
Yes.
It's okay for me to say, okay, sure. It doesn't hurt me anymore that I've lost a big bag that was going to sustain me for this long because I think there is peace in knowing that you know your worth.
Yeah.
And when you allow people to also decide what you are worthy, you forever going to be a slave of, I don't even want to say society like that, but you're going to be a slave of opportunities. Because when every opportunity that you get, you need to take it because you're thinking, what if they don't come back? What if you don't get another one? But if you have made peace of who you are, what you want to do, and finding your purpose, I really believe in finding your purpose as a person. And I think I've found my purpose. I really have found my purpose. I always say, I know for a fact there is no one like me.
Yeah.
And so even if you reject me, you're not going to find someone like me. It's either you have me or you don't have another person that looks like me.
You're one of one.
And I'm happy that I've found myself to actually understand that.
Yeah. Now, Yaya, trans women specifically were charge leaders in terms of leading the revolution for the LGBT community. And we enjoy a lot of the liberties off the backs of trans women.
Because of trans women.
Do you feel that trans women are put in their light as much as they should, considering the fact that they have led this charge, especially when we look at it from the context of the LGBT community? Let's leave everything else. Let's leave everybody else. The same people that you were fighting for as a community, as the trans community. Do you feel like those people that you dragged along with, or that the trans community dragged along with them, appreciated and continue to see the trans community as those charge leaders?
So if we're going to like speak into the LGBTI community specifically, I'm going to make an example about Pride.
Yeah.
To say who leads the march at Pride, who is the person that you first see at Pride, chances are it's a trans person.
Okay.
Who's going to be in that forefront. But does the trans person then enjoy the freedom after having advocated for that? No. Usually the freedom then is going to be enjoyed by a gay man.
Yes.
Or a lesbian woman. Then a trans person really comes after, if it's all. I always speak of, I hate the idea of being the only trans person in a space, because for me, then it doesn't make sense. It feels like then I'm working backwards. Where are the other trans people? Because it's not like they don't exist. They are there. But because then society wants them to look a certain way, they have to be accepted because they are well presented. They work with cool brands, you know. When they walk into a space, they've got nice makeup, nice hair. Oh yeah, you see that one at least, you know, she's very much presentable. So we can have her, she passes. And which is why the idea of passing for me, I don't like it. I don't believe in it. I'm happy for everybody to actually know that I'm trans. You know, I don't want to erase, you know, my transness for the sake of being accepted by the world. I do not like that. So a lot of times, even within the LGBTI community, trans women are not seen by the same community. They're not celebrated by the same community. There are many gay men, lesbian women, bisexual people that might not be openly gay or out there, or some even, there are industry leaders, but will never find it's okay to have a trans person being part of anything that is going to empower them. If they are going to have them, they have to do it either for free or they have to earn way less. You know, because I think society for some reason think we don't have needs or we don't deserve.
Or maybe they just don't see you as having value.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier, to say, you know, so they don't value us. This is why I was saying to you, the comparison to me spoke of this person not valuing me, not seeing my worth, you know, and thanks God, because she's speaking to a person that knows their worth, that knows what they want, to say it's okay. If you feel like that, then you can go and find someone else, but at least it won't be me, you know. That's why I said I'm so glad that I personally have found my purpose, which I wish for every other trans person to find their purpose and see their worth, because then we won't find ourselves in a space where we feel like we are not included in conversations, in spaces. You're going to speak of a day like International Women's Day or even National Women's Day. How many trans people do you see in those conversations? And why are they not there? You know, it's not like they are. There's no reason for them to be part of these conversations. There is a reason for them to be part of these conversations, but society chooses to say we're not going to include trans women. We're not going to have them because why? We don't see them as women. You know, because even within the LGBTI community, a lot of our brothers and sisters don't see us as women. When you have a fallout with a person, they're going to remind you exactly what they think of you.
Absolutely.
You know, I've seen it with like heterosexual friends where they would say exactly what they think of you and they don't see you as a woman. You know, I had a fallout with a gay friend of mine.
Do I know them?
Yes, you definitely do. But now we are fine. And because of their transphobic mind,
yes,
they might not have thought that they are being so transphobic, but what was coming out of their mouth without them thinking or seeing that they're actually being transphobic was shocking for me. You know, I think we had, there was a big thing around Sel Beyonce and the roast.
Okay.
And the comment was, but I don't see anything wrong with what Mpo said because Sel Beyonce has not done surgery. I took a lot of offense from that because I felt like if you are then saying she's a man, which means you're saying I'm a man too because I have not done surgery, you know?
Yeah.
What are you saying exactly? And I hate it when people then don't see the damage that they are causing to the next person. Not you can have your own thoughts that you think that might be realistic for you because that's what you want to think, but you cannot then subject me to that pain. You know, because for me it is painful to say a person that I call my friend sees me like that.
Yeah.
You know, yes, you might not say, because I mean the conversation went on to say, but why are you internalizing this and make it yourself?
Yeah.
I'm like, if you're going to say something about a black person,
yes.
you're also talking to me, unfortunately.
Yes.
We now live in transness. You know, if you're saying a black person, that black person is a monkey, you are saying I'm a monkey. It's worse now that it hits home because this person is my friend. You know?
So, I don't want to go into the intricacies of transhood, but I want to...
Transhead. Transhead.
Transhood.
Oh, transhood. Okay.
Yes.
I was like, okay.
No. When would you say, and I want us to just, so that we can get back on track, when would you say that it is right to call someone trans? When is it, or when is the acknowledgement? Because if people are saying that they haven't done surgery, so therefore they are not trans, or top surgery or bottom surgery, or they don't shave their beard, or things. So when is it the time? Does it come from the person? Tina, first of all, singenapi, you know. So I think from your experience, when would you say it is the time?
So I think it's such a strange thing for people to expect that trans people need to have gone through surgery, need to have started taking hormones. That would be like me saying, oh no, but you haven't had sex with a boy, so you're not gay. You can't be gay without having sex.
Yes.
You know, just say I'm gay, but I'm not going to have sex with, you know, anyone, but I am gay. So we are so conditioned by society to say what we know is the gospel truth, or what we think is the gospel truth, not somebody else's truth is actually their truth. And which is so sad. So for me, I always think of a trans person who is in the rural areas, who does not have access to hormones, who does not have access to anything that society sees as transness, to say that person is still trans if they're saying, I see myself as a woman, you know, I am a woman, you know, or I am a trans man, I am a man. So we cannot then say just because you have not had access to a certain thing that's going to change how society views you, then you are less of.
And within politics, LGBT, when it comes to trans women versus trans men, gay men versus lesbian women, do you, from your observation, feel like women have it better? And when I say women, I'm talking about lesbian women and trans men, in terms of acceptance in society, in family, etc.?
So patriarchy has played a huge role into it has messed people's minds. Because, I can walk into a space with a trans man.
Yes.
I'm a trans woman, he's a trans man. He's more likely to be seen as, oh, wow, okay, look at him, But me, they are going to, in a way, what is the word? When somebody doesn't get your pronouns. Misgender you.
Yeah.
They are more likely to misgender me than to misgender him. It just goes to show how much society really believes in men.
Yeah.
They see men as worthy than women. Same thing as a lesbian woman and a gay man. A gay man, yes, society have got that. That's why we have a lot of homophobia that's what's this?
Especially towards feminine gay men.
Feminine gay men. Because how dare you're trying to be a woman, whereas a lesbian woman who is femme compared to a lesbian woman who is butch, the lesbian woman is going to see who's femme is being seen as somebody, she's just in a phase, she still likes men,
Yeah.
That's why no, we are born cheerily, we are born alone, and why are you even calling somebody umchita who has not said I'm a man?
Yeah.
Do you understand? Because we want to idolize masculinity so much. It's such a shame. And if a gay man pulls up in a space and most people would say straight acting, which I don't know why people are acting, but hey, it happens. You are more likely to be accepted by society. Absolutely. And be seen as a gent. But if you are feminine, nobody really takes that serious. Oh, no, fucking makeup. Have you seen how people react to gay men that have makeup on? It's like, oh, okay, there's so much shock. There's so much disgust to say, this is so distasteful. That's why it's not you.
The LGBTQ plus community, just from public perception, is quite synonymous with substance use and abuse. And let's say you come out to a family member, one of the first things that they're going to think is sex, drugs, alcohol, parties all night.
Such a shame.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm not sure if it's unjustified, because just looking at the stats, when it comes to alcohol use, 20 to 25% of LGBTQ plus individuals experience moderate to severe alcohol dependence versus 5 to 10% in the general population. And these are general terms, just worldly, not specific to South Africa, because I think those numbers in South Africa are completely different.
Yeah.
We'll talk bisexual women report the highest rates of heavy drinking within the community. Opioid use. The LGBTQ plus community has higher rates of opioid use and opioid use disorders than heterosexual or cisgendered peers. Transgender individuals show higher levels of OUD, which is opioid use disorders, compared to cisgendered individuals. Other substance use, LGBT youth have significantly higher odds of substance use than heterosexual youth. Some subgroups showing extremely high rates. And of course, co-use of substances is common. Contributing factors, of course, discrimination and victimization. LGBTQ plus based victimization increases the risk of substance use and suicidal ideation. Social and psychosocial and psychological influences, peer behavior, psychosocial stresses, and internal beliefs about substance use contribute to higher rates. And I want us to go to the root cause, because now abantu bajaja the outlet and not necessarily
the cause.
And sometimes you are the cause.
Thank you. I was about to say, Gucci. So I think first, I don't want to make this an LGBTIQ plus issue.
Yes.
But at the same time, I understand that we do sometimes do too much when it comes to partying and living a good life. We really do. But we need to see first us as Black people of where we come from. A lot of things that we do them because we want to cope out of bad experiences that we face as society, either because of apartheid, either because of not being accepted in our communities where we live. I'm just talking now, me as a Black person, not even as a queer person, gay, lesbian, trans, So imagine what Black people go through anyway, and they have to find comforts in having a good time with friends.
Yeah.
Then now you are lesbian, you are gay, you are trans. You even face that times more.
Yes.
Because now, after you being belittled, it's either by the privileged other, you are now going to be discriminated by the person that looks like you, who doesn't see you as equal. Because how dare you not going to have kids? How are you not going to, build a family? What a waste you are. We can say, but people just say these things. There are people that go through so much because of those words. That they remember them for the longest time. To them, it breaks them. It breaks their what do you call their vision of where they want to see them themselves in life. Some ask themselves and say, okay, fine, really, maybe they are right. What family am I going to build when I have all this? Who do I have? And which is why sometimes you find, even at Pride, people would want to be there until all the doors are like closed, because they really have no one to go to. And all the comfort that they find is the surrounding of other queer people that they can have fun with, drink with. And unfortunately, we don't have much spaces where a lot of LGBTI people can actually go to and talk about the issues that they face on a daily basis. So most of the time when we meet up at Groove to have a good time.
Now, when Groove, becomes a bit of a problem, when the alcohol becomes a bit of a problem, when the drugs become a bit of a problem, and also, of course, there are also issues of interpersonal relationships. Self-worth and self-image, and you end up in relationships with people that you shouldn't be with. And there are lots of contributing factors there. I was speaking to friends of mine over the weekend, and I was saying, we do not have the same privileges as cisgendered straight kids in high school to be able to experiment and explore with our peers. You end up in the arms of somebody older. And now you just, the fact that person is not going to be available to you. And a lot of the time you might find that it's even someone who's older, who's even married.
And, I always say, you look at what happens in these relationships, because sometimes it's hidden relationships. A lot of times those relationships are not out. Do you understand the amount of cheating in relationships that are hidden? Because it's just you and this person that knows. And this person is going to guarantee you that they're not going to do anything that is going to harm you. But they're going to leave here and go to your friend, to the next person, to the next person, and do the same thing, because they know that no one is going to know, So the secrecy that happens also harms the community so much.
Absolutely.
That they find themselves not really, they are unsure of, okay, who do I really then get comforts from?
Who's your safe space?
Exactly.
Because you don't have
that safe space.
And also, a lot of the time, you are the safe space for a lot of people, right? Let's say you find a man who is having difficulty with accepting their own sexuality, right? You will be understanding of the fact that, I want this to remain between the two of us, because you are understanding of their journey. You are understanding and you are respectful of their coming out. So therefore,
and also of you've been here.
You've been there.
You've been there. So you know very well to say, coming out, if this person comes out, it's shy for them.
But now here's the thing. a lot of the time you're not the person that is chosen.
Of course.
So that in its own is rejection, because that person, because of their outward image and how they want the world to view them, they will then end up going to marry the woman, the cisgender woman, and having the kids and all of that. And of course, that then hits you hard because you've invested in this thing, and of course there is an expectation because of the promises that have been made. Now, when we look at as that we've spoken about, how easy is it for queer, trans, just the LGBT community, based off of the perceptions surrounding the community, how easy is it for people to go and seek help? And when I say seek help, I'm talking about help in all terms.
All aspects.
Whether it's health, whether it's psychosocial, psychological, whether it is,
safety in the police stations.
Exactly.
And
whether you are wanting assistance with an alcohol problem, a drug problem, going to these places to go and seek help. Because also remember, there's that perception of what anyway.
So I think the first thing here that comes into my mind is about trust. Who do we trust? That's if I have an issue, I'm going to go to.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you this, as a trans person, there is no way that I'm going to go to a public hospital and have assistance and get assistance without me being judged in the space.
Yet you are completely accounted for in our constitution.
Without me being questioned of my gender identity. If it's even worse, if my ID doesn't say female.
Yeah.
I remember years ago, I was very sick. I then was admitted, and then the doctor comes to me in the patient room. She says to me, "When last did I go to my periods?" So I'm like, no, I don't.
I don't.
She's like, why? I said, I'm trans. The shock in her face. And then she said, oh, so you're a man. And she left me there.
Guys, it's sensitization, yabantu, especially as frontline workers who are dealing with these issues on a daily basis.
This doctor is not there to treat a trans person. This doctor is there to treat a patient.
Yes.
They're supposed to get there and treat a patient. But the conversation then changes about my gender identity. You go to a police station, you have been mugged, you have been robbed by somebody, you've been abused by a partner. The conversation that begins is about your gender identity, your sexuality as a gay man, if you are feminine.
Yeah.
If you, who happens to be masculine, and you are reporting a case against another a guy, police are going to be saying, why don't you fight with him as a man? So there is no sense of security and trust for us. Because there is no one that you're going to say, if I speak to this person is going to be able to assist me.
Yeah.
And it's such a shame that we have to find ourselves in these spaces. Yet, when it's time to pay tax, everybody is charged equally. They don't say, just because you don't get government services, pay less or don't even pay, because you don't get government services and you are unsafe in this society. Even though you are not safe and you're not benefiting from what society gets, but you're still going to contribute into how what's this is meant to be contributed by everybody who earns the same money with you. And most of the time in our community, especially trans women, they're not employed, they're self-employed.
Yes.
They find themselves having to pay extra tax because of those reasons. But still, what they get in return is not equally to what they contribute, which is unfair. And the government, I don't think the government is really willing to actually have that conversation to say, what do we do?
There are a lot of ecosystems and and a lot of economies that are run by the pink dollar, and the fact that it's only ever really seen when it's beneficial, but not when the assistance is needed.
Absolutely.
I also want to now just delve into the religious and cultural aspects. Yaya Yaya Mavundla is from where?
So, I mean, I grew up in Cresits and
Yes.
Kranskop it's like a very, very rural where I grew up. And to Jambili then, I was such a church person. And what I like about how my family taught me of church, it wasn't a forced thing.
Yeah.
At home, it was just like culture to say, we go to church and we believe in God. We pray every day. In the morning when you wake up, you pray. In the evening, and you pray. And we are intentional about things that we are praying for, you know. So it was never a thing to say, why didn't you go to church? We saw the need even within ourselves to say, you know, we need to do this. And I'm so grateful that I went to a church that is not discriminatory at all. I was never discriminated at church. Even now, when I go to church, I remember we went to church to go when we were burying my grandmother. I remember, you know, thinking, I can't get up there and speak because of my emotions first.
Yes.
But also for those that knew me growing up and then they see me now as this girl, what are the conversations that they're going to have?
Yeah.
Even if they don't say it like direct to me, I was just thinking about that. But it took me back to my purpose for living, my purpose for being here, to say, I think one of the things when I speak of transvisibility, I must speak of me showing up first as myself in spaces that also are that awkward. And funny enough, people are okay, you know, back home with me being, you know, trans. I had an interview this one time on Ukozi, and I spoke of a queer couple that is known in society in back home. Everybody knows of that a couple. And I was just so moved by how church people respect them.
Yes.
Culture, you know, when we speak of things that are inclusive of like men or women, there is no awkwardness. When at home also we were performing a ritual for my grandmother's passing, they were okay with me sitting with women, you know.
Yeah.
In actual fact, one of my you know, aunts made it so comfortable for me to say, when men are sitting the other side, I'm sitting with women. She said, no, Yaya is sitting with us women, you know. So then I asked myself, what is the issue with us in the city where we're going to speak of culture that excludes trans people and queer people, whereas where I come from, in the rurals, they are okay with that. Yeah. Where do we get this, Tina, to say, let's exclude these people? Why do people in the city, when they go to church, they now not have to be themselves, but when they are back home? And you find themselves, you know, sometimes you find people going back home and not being themselves because they think at home they're going to have a problem. Only to find actually at home they don't have a problem because they know you. They raised you.
So in light of things like the hate speech spewed by the likes of Ongizwe Mchunu, would you say that is performative? Very
performative. Ongizwe, I just even hate the fact that I'm mentioning that guy's name, because honestly, he likes power.
Yeah.
And he likes, of course, attention. Definitely he likes power. And he has not been able to get it right to say where can he actually lead, because he sees himself as a leader.
As a leader,
but what does he actually lead? What conversations does he lead? When he speaks in society, what are these conversations that he speaks of and then the society speaks of and listens to him too? So of course, when you're going to speak of the LGBTI community, because society is very homophobic and transphobic. So he saw that to say, okay, if I attack this group, then my voice is going to be heard. There is something that people are actually going to hear me say and actually support me with. Because really, what exactly when he says he's a president, what does he lead them with? What do they benefit from him that when he does? I mean, he said he wanted to he would have been in parliament by 2025. Which parliament? Here the radio station, that's failed, which means for me, that lacks leadership. That lacks actual support about what you do and what you're known about. If things that you want to do and lead on do not come to light, do you understand?
Got you.
So he knows very well the conversation around LGBTIQ plus people is going to get people talking. Next, he's going to attack definitely women because he knows how society views women. Do you understand? He's never going to face another man who is heterosexual, who is doing injustices and say you are wrong and stand up to it because he knows how people view men. I mean, guys, he sees the amount of women that are abused by their husbands in Makaya. It's a real thing. It happens. He sees alcohol abuse in Makaya. He sees teenage pregnancy. He's supposed to be the first person to wake up and say, you will not impregnate a young woman in my presence as a man.
As a man, especially as a grown man.
As a grown man
with statutory rape.
Who believes in culture. Do you understand? He will not do that because you know what? He fears men that looks like him. That have the same mentality and the same behavior. So he knows for a fact that, you know what, if he attacks that, it's not about culture. It really is not about culture. You know, I was listening to a conversation that they were having on Ukhozi, on Kakasi FM. And there was a great leader.
Radio stations.
I really do listen to conversations that are like so important. For me, even podcast that adds value because for me, it's important that I'm informed about what happens in my society that also especially affects the people that look like me. So I was listening to this great leader, Kuluma, about how we've diverted these to gayness. Whereas just because you are gay does not necessarily mean that you are not black anymore. That does not mean that you are not Zulu anymore. You are still that person. And you being a gay man does not make you a woman. So you are still entitled to wearing anything that other men wears.
Absolutely. And also, at the end of the day, culture is a birthright.
Absolutely.
You are born into your culture.
You don't become Anzulu just because now you are gay or lesbian or trans. No. You'll always be Zulu. Your surname does not change.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. Unfortunately, we do have to wrap it up here. We probably would have been able to speak for the whole day.
Of course.
And just closing remarks on betterment, you know, being better, wanting better, placing yourself in situations for the betterment of yourself. And I think in relation to harmful behavior, speaking specifically to the people that look like us.
I think people, when people ask me of questions of how can we support the person that looks like you, for me, I think it's important that first, why are you supporting this person? Who are you supporting? What do they need? Because I think the moment we do things based on what we think is right, we're going to get it right. So we're going to get it wrong. But if you know exactly what respect looks like to Samora, what respect looks like to Yaya, why do I need to, respect the next person? I see Yaya as a human first. That's why I need to respect her. Yaya needs this opportunity as a person, not because she's trans. So I think it's so important for society when you speak of getting people to live a better life or to be better, we need to be honest of how first we make other people feel. We need to be honest of the spaces where we get people excluded to say, why are we excluding them? So then we will know, why do we need to support them? Why is it important to support them? And also us individually, I think we need to speak about that, to say, what can I do to make sure that you are comfortable, that you feel safe around me? You know, you need to tell me, it's okay for me, you know, to feel safe in this space. This is what you need to do. Then I know exactly what I'm dealing with. It should never be an assumption to say, I think.
Yeah.
Because then it becomes a big problem.
Yaya Mavundla for the Best of Me podcast. Yaya, thank you so much for joining us. It's been absolutely lovely. For people who want to get a hold of you and continue this conversation on the socials, where can they find you?
Okay, I'm on all my social media platforms. I'm at Yaya RSA.
Yes.
I'm trying to find TikTok these days. I think I'm having a little bit of fun.
Yes.
It's fun there. It's not curated content.
Yeah.
It's just like so much fun. I'm enjoying it so far.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much yet again. And thank you to you once again for supporting us and showing us all the love. Be sure to do all of the things that they do. I said in my first episode that I don't know what they say on YouTube because I'm used to television.
Oh, yeah.
So be sure to go out there and continue to show support. Like, subscribe, comment, share it with people who you think would genuinely benefit from this conversation. And also click on the notification bell so that you can get notified every single Wednesday when we upload a brand new episode. Find us on all the socials. It's at The Best of Me across the board or at Samora_Mangesi. Go out there and continue to be better.
And I'm as free as the wind that's blowing out on this beach.